Yeah, hi all. Hope you all are doing great. So today we are going to discuss a small topic that is static control flow. And in this series of what I can say, flow of static instance and all those things, I will do in three parts. First of all, I will discuss about the static control flow, and after that instance control flow, and after that I will combine both of them and I will take one example, and it will be more helpful for the people who don't have a great idea. So all the person who have idea of static and instance flow, they can happily uh, come out of this video and can use their time in some different work. So yes, so this video is all about static control flow. So it will be about 20-minute video. Let's see how much time I will take. So I am discussing in this video like a static control flow. So let's suppose you are a Java developer or what I can say OOP developer. So in object oriented programming, you might have discussed about what we have used, a static kind of thing. So in Java program, we have various kind of variables. If you think, like we have a local variable, we have instance variable, we have a static variable, and these all variables, if you think, they all have a different location inside the memory. Like if you talk about instance variable, they have a specific, what I can say, memory is reserved for them. Like for a static instance variable, we have heap memory is reserved for them. And coming to static variable, the method area is reserved for them. And coming to local variable, a stack frame is there. So we are going to discuss about a static control flow. So coming to static, you all have the idea, like we have a static, what I can say, class can be also static. Yeah, you may think like how a class can be, outer class can't be static, but coming to inner class, it can be static. So coming to outer class can be public, it can be, what I can say, default, it can be, I can say, what, abstract, it could be like final. So public, final, abstract, default, yeah, these are the things we can have as outer class. But coming to inner class, we can have like private is there, and we can have static inner class. So these are the things. So now coming to this static control flow, what I will do, I will take a simple example, and with the help of that example, I will explain this static control flow. It will be more helpful for you also and easy for me to explain. So what I am going to do, I am going to take a simple class like class test. So this is my class, let's suppose public class, and inside this class, let's suppose I have defined some static variable, a static int. So let it be static only, static int x is equal to 10, okay, and take some static block. So you all know, like we have the static block and instance block. So like we can have the static block, instance block, and synchronized block is there. So these are the only few blocks which is possible, static, instance, and synchronized. Now yes, static is there, and inside this, what I am doing, inside this, let's suppose I am calling one method m1, and after that, let's suppose I am calling variable printing s out, means system.out.println of x, and this is all about static. Now coming to this method, let's suppose m1 method, and this method m1 is public static void m1, and inside this method, let's suppose I am printing x. Okay, one static method I have taken, one static block I have taken, static variable I have taken, and now let's suppose one more static I should take now, it will be more helpful. So let's suppose a static int y is equal to 20 I have taken, and one more I have taken, and no, let's make it a smaller, so we will not I will not confuse you. And let's suppose that directly we will call public static void main, and here I will write like a string args of whatever it is, okay, and this is like s out of high, this I have written, and this is the end of program, end of main, and this is end of class. So this is the simple class. So what I am going to discuss, this is static control flow with the help of this example. So coming to a static flow, what is going to happen, whenever our class is loaded by the JVM, the first thing which is going to be done is like all the static things, like static variables, static methods, these all are identified. So you might have an idea, like you may have worked with native methods, and what I can say, you might have worked with JDK libraries, like JDK drivers are there, not JDK. So we have JDBC drivers, various drivers are there. So in those things, what you have seen, like in case of JDBC driver, let's suppose we have Oracle driver is there, and inside that, in Oracle driver, in that driver class, you might have seen like in a static block, what they have written, they have written a code to register their driver inside what driver manager. So what things we write inside the static block, so all those things which are required for the further processing, those things we write inside the static block, like loading of native libraries, we all do those things inside this static block. So now coming to this flow, first of all what will happen, it will identify all the static things. So what I have told you, like identification will be done in the first step. So coming to this program, first of all it will identify from top to bottom like what are the static things. Now if you see here inside this class, so this is the first thing, like if I can write here, like this is the first static thing. What it comes to know, like this is a variable x that is static. So what it will do, first of all it will take a variable x, and at this instance of time it will not set the value. First it will identify it. So what it will do, it will recognize there is a variable x and that is static in nature and it is an integer. Now after that what it will do, it will see in down we have a static block, so it's also a static kind of thing, so it will number it like it is second one. So now coming to down, it will see like here is also a method which is of static type, so this is the third. Now coming to the last, what it will see, like we have a method like that is a static method, so it will recognize all those things, like these are the various static things possible in our class. Now after that what it will do, in the second iteration what it will do, it will do the assignment and execution of static blocks. So this is the second thing they are going to do. So in the first step what we have do, we have just identified the variable, but we have not fixed any value. So this kind of the state of the variable is called as read indirectly write only state. So here what we have done, we have just identified the variable, we have not placed the value inside the variable. So there is two kind of read possible with the variable. One is called as the direct read and second is called as the indirect read. So direct read is what, if inside some method inside the static block, let's suppose here you can see like I have called m1 method, and inside this m1 method if you see what I have done, I have called x. So if you are calling some variable with the help of method, that is called as indirect, so you are not directly reading it. And if inside some block, static block, if you are directly asking for that variable, that is called as the direct read. So here I am doing what, here I am doing direct read, and in this case I am doing indirect read. So indirect read means with the help of some method we are doing, like we are not doing directly, with the help of some method we are going to have that value, and if you are getting it directly, that is called as the direct read. Now here if you see, we have just set in the value like x is a variable that is static. Now in second step what it will see, assignment and execution of a static block. So once again it will come and see here, hey, x is the variable and it's static in nature. So what it will do, it will put the value, it will see like here static is assign some value. So you all know about the static variable. For the static variable we can assign at the time of declaration only, when we declare, and inside the static block also we can we can give the value that to that variable, means initialize that value. So here it is only present, so it will put the value like x is equal to 10. Now coming to the second next thing, like this is the fifth step. So now coming to second, it is assignment and execution of a static block. So now second thing, it will see like is there any static variable present from top to bottom, and a static block also. So here is the static variable, it is done. Now coming to next, this is a static block and it should execute this block. What it is written like execution of a static block. So it will come here, this is the sixth, and it will see, yeah, it's a static block, and inside this it will see like m1 is the method which is called. So since it is a static method, and we can call a static method without having any object, so yes, it will get into this method and it will see what s out in this method. This is a method, here it comes, and it is the seventh state, here it comes, and what it will see, like here is the method m1 and it is calling what, s out of x. So it's an indirect kind of read, and what it will see, like x is a variable which has been initialized with some value. So what it will do, it will simply print, so I will write output here, here is the output. So what it will do, due to this m1 method, x value is printed and x value is 10. So yes, it is done. Now once it is done, once it is done, the control comes back again here after next line, after next of M1, and here it is what S out of X is again. So here we are doing direct read. So here till this time X is already initialized. So what it will do? It will do again the printing kind of thing, and 10 will be again printed. Now there is a trick. Let's suppose I will directly call S out of X. I will directly call S out of X. Let's suppose, and this static variable, this static variable, I am talking about this static variable. If this static variable was defined something, let's suppose below this method. Let's suppose here if I define this variable static, like static int X is equal to 10. Let's suppose I have declared this variable X here, and if I call this variable with this method, means if I call this variable X without this method, means the first statement like S out of X, in that case what it will be happening? First of all, if at the time of what I can say, at the time of identification of all the variables, it will come to know like X is a variable, so it will take like X is a variable. Okay, coming to next step, what it will see, like a static block is there, and let's suppose M1 method is not here. So what I have told you, like let's suppose this static variable is not declared here, it is declared in the end of here, and here it is declared, let's suppose. And here what it is, means not inside some method not inside some method, it is outside of any method. So here it is declared, let's suppose, and there is a static block, and inside this static block, let's suppose M1 method is not there, only S out is there. So what it will see in the second phase, like we have to execute the static block. So its only statement is like S out of X, and this X variable, this JVM has just seen that X is a variable, but it has not assigned any value. So what I am doing, I am directly reading this X. So what I am doing, I am directly reading the X. So in first step, at the time of what I can say reading all the static variable, it comes to know like X is a static variable, and this is a static block, and these are the method. In the second iteration, when it comes to execute the static block, it will directly say like, hey, I have to print X, but I have not given any value to X. So compiler will say like, hey programmer, this variable is in read indirectly write only state. It is in read indirectly write only state. So how you can read this value? So it will throw a kind of what I can say. It will throw a kind of compile time error. It is like what I can say. Some error is there. I don't remember the name. It will throw some compile time error. You know why it will throw? Because value of X is not assigned yet. Once this control flows to this level, then it will assign the value 10. So since it has not sent that value, so it will throw such kind of error. So coming out of our discussion, so sorry for getting, I can say, out of track. So what I was telling, like first of all, it will identify all the static variables. After that, what it will do, it will execute the static block. So in the process of executing the static block, M1 method is called, and inside M1 method, it is what? S out of X, and since X is initialized earlier here only, so it will print directly 10, and after that control goes back to this statement next to M1, and that is S out of X, and X will be printed like 10. Now this is all about the static thing. Now what it will do, once these static blocks and all are done, and at last a static method like main will be called. Let's suppose main will be called. So in our program, what is there in our program, like we have the main as the method. So here this main will be called, and here it is high now, so at end high will be printed. So this is a simple, I can say, program. So now I will do some kind of twist here, and it will be more interesting for you. Like what I will do, I will create a kind of parent-child relationship, and at that time it will be more interesting and you will enjoy it. So just give me a second. I will do a kind of just wait for a second. Yes. So yeah, what I will do, so let's suppose this is a class, and this is a parent class, class P, and inside this class I have some variable. So I will take a simple program, static int X is equal to, let's suppose 10, and in this parent class we have some static block is there, and inside this static block, let's suppose I have called M1 method, and after that I have called like S out of X. This I have done, and inside M1 I have like what I can see, like S out of X. This what I have written, and this is all about the parent. This is about the parent. So this is all about the parent class, and let's suppose this is a class of child, and inside the child class what it is, and inside the child class let's suppose we have also some static variable, static into y is equal to 20, let's suppose, and we have some static block is there, and inside this block we have, let's suppose, m2 is there, and we have called m2 inside the static block, and let's suppose we have defined m2 variable, so it's public static m1 and it's public static m2, and inside this let's suppose I have called s out of y, and okay, and let's suppose we have like s out of x also, s out of y also I have called, and after that let's suppose I have written main, public static void main of string 3 args args, so I'm using var args, so Java 1.5, and here it is, let's suppose, s out of child. Okay, so let's suppose we have also main method here also, and string 3 args 3 dot of args, and here also it's like s out of child, no not child, s out of parent, so this is there. Okay, so yes, so this is what I can say. I have taken one parent class and one child class, and I want to show the static control flow, like when there is a parent and child, how this static control flow happens. So flow will be remain same, just here two classes are there, no? Parent and child are there, so something extra will be added. So first what will happen, same thing which we have learned previously, like first of all it will identify the static members kind of thing, static variables, methods or block, it will identify. So identification will be done. So identification of static things, but here the thing is, like we have two classes, parent child classes are there, so how this identification will be done? So it will be done from parent to child, means first of all parent static things will be identified, and after that child will identification will be done. So we will start from here only. So first of all it will come here and it will see like this is a static thing, so this is the number 1, so it will identify like, hey, there is a variable x is there, so it is in read indirectly write only state. So now after that it will see the static block is there. Okay, now after that, so this process only happens when we load the class. Now when we call this any like what I can say, when we load this class now, at that time this all thing will be happening. So in second is this it will find, and after that coming to this, let's suppose public is okay, this I have called method, no sorry, this I have called a method, and after that third thing it will find like this is m1 is the method that is static, and here it will find like main is also a method here. So this is all it will recognize, and after that it will not initialize the value, so it will do what, identification from parent to child. So this identification till parent is done. Now it will come this side and it will see in the child class we have one static is there, and here it will see like y is there, and after that this is one static is there, static block, and after that it will see one method is there, and after that it will see like main is there. Okay, so identification is done from parent to child. Now in second step what it will do, in second step it will do the what I can say that assignment and what I can say execution of static blocks. So same thing is happening, but here order is parent to child. So first of all parent static variable initialization will be done, and after that static blocks, if they are present, those all things will be happening parallelly, and after all thing it will come to child class, and in those static variables what they have identified in the first steps, it will put the value if there is some value, and it will execute the static blocks. So coming to the next line, so we have gone till 8 step. Next step what it will do, it will again come to parent class, it will see like, hey, x is a variable which has some value, so it will put the value like 10 is there. Okay, this is done. So this is step number what, this is step number 9. Okay, now coming to next, it will see like, hey, I have recognized this static block, now I should execute this static block. So it will come here and execute this static block. So again this is number 10. So what it will see, inside the static block m1 method is called. So from here the control goes to m1 method, so it's like the 11 number. It will come here and execute this method, and it is written like s out of x. So here I will write the output. So what it will do, s out of x, and x is defined as 10, and since x is initialized earlier, so there is no any kind of compile time error will happen. So it will print 10. After this it will control will come back to the next line like here only, and it is again s out of x, and x is already 10, so 10 will be printed. So this is all going to happen in the parent. Now what we have learned earlier, like in this flow only, after this all static will happen, like main will be called, but here parent class main will not be executed. So yeah, this thing you need to be very clear. Now coming to next thing, parent class all identification and static blocks has been executed. Now in this child class, what you will see, like these variables will also be initialized. So we have gone till what steps? Line, I hope it's line number 11 we gonna, line number 11 we have gone through. Now coming to next line, it will come here to line number 12, means line 12 step, and it will put the value of y is equal to 20. It has identified in first step, so it will put the value 20. Now coming to next, it will see that a static block is there, so it's 20, it's like what number, 13 number is there. It will identify this static block, and here when it comes, it see like m2 method is called, so control will directly jump to m2, and m2 is here, and it is calling like s out of y. Since y is declared in slice earlier, so it will print directly what, y is equal to 20, so it will print 20. Okay, it is done. Now control comes back again to next line, so here control comes, and it will see like s out of y is again called, so 20 will be printed again. And after that, and it will see like this all is done, we don't have any another static block. So yeah, in a single program we can have multiple static blocks, so you can't say like we can have only one static block, we can have multiple static block, and the order of execution will be like top to bottom. So whatever static block you write in the upper, it will execute it first of all. So there is no any static block. Now here in the last step, main will be executed, main will be executed. So which main? The child class main will be executed, child class, not the parent class. Yeah, this is the trick. Child class main will be executed, and here child is there now, so child will be printed. So this is all about the static control flow, and hope you all have enjoyed. And coming to next video, I will define the instance control flow, and in the next video I will combine both static and instance, and with the help of simple program I will explain you. So it will be helpful for all those people who don't have a exact idea of this flow. And thank you all. Bye.